It was in the year 1972, and we got a phone call from David Frost. He wanted to know if we'd like to write music for a musical version of Cinderella. And at first we said no, because it's been done many times.
After Rodgers and Hammerstein did the definitive television version, and Walt Disney did the definitive animated film version.
But then we got an idea. If we told the story from the prince's point of view, that'd be an entirely different kettle of fish. What was the prince's story, we asked ourselves. We puzzled about this for a while, and suddenly we had the answer. Most folks think that it would be great to be a prince, royalty. But being a prince is really quite a drag. And there, we realized we had the story, the answer.
I wish to know, I demand to know, why can't I be two people? Why can't I live two roles? Why can't one of me perform all the cloying amenities while the other me, twin brother me, be a free and happy soul? Why can't I be two people? Split myself right in half. Then I could satisfy and mollify and pacify and qualify, while the other me would have a hell of a healthy laugh. Ah!
That's why we begin our movie with Why Can't I Be Two People? And many of the songs resonate from that same idea.
For example, we decided to do something very daring. We'd have the prince coming home from a long trek where he was supposed to marry some princess in a foreign land to make a royal agreement, and he was very disappointed. She was a real prune face, and he came back and he passes the family crypt. And so we had the fun of writing a little song about, a happy little song that he could sing with his friend, his companion in arms, about dying. His whole life was going to be wind up in this place.
And
he
it
said,
goes like this.
Oh, ho, ho, what a comforting thing to know. Well, there's a prearranged spot in the family plot where my royal bones will go. Yes, I'll be slipped into the beautiful family crypt. Oh, ho, ho, what a comforting thing for me to see. Oh, ho, ho, what a comforting thing to know. The first draft of this script, which we wrote before Brian came into it, Brian Forbes, was a labor of about, I'd say, a year, because we were working on 4 other projects at the time. So this was always the back burner, and we had shaped it, and then we had about 6 songs and a storyline in about 6 months, and then we were commissioned to go ahead and write a first draft. You know, people always ask what comes first, the music or the lyrics, and in this case we were writing the script, and in all point of fact, the script came first, the idea, but not the whole script, the concept, the storyline came first, and then that sparked our ideas about how we could come up with certain songs.
Actually, it didn't happen suddenly at all. It was 2 years since we made our initial deal with David Frost, the executive producer. It was 1974, and we had finally gotten the chance to finish our first draft of what would eventually be called The Slipper and the Rose. We were very busy that year with a Broadway show and a movie happening all at the same time. But then David called us up completely elated. He was on the boat of the Sultan of Oman, somewhere in the Mediterranean, and he had a check in his pocket. Guys, he said, we've got a movie.
Without a script, there's nothing. You have nothing. You might as well do a stand-up concert. The script is the most important thing of all. Has to be. Particularly today, when you have to catch people's fancy and pull them along for 2 hours or 2.5 hours. You have to have a wonderful, wonderful story to pull them along. The script is absolutely, ultimately important, and it gives the inspiration for the songs. So the script is number one.
Number one.
We were looking for a director, and we felt it was very important to get someone who was sensitive and had a sense of the romance of it. And Brian is a gifted man who has a great sense of that. And he was invited to read our script and hear the score, and he was very excited about the music, and he liked the storyline. He thought that we'd come up with a good storyline.
Brian wanted the picture to have more of a British sense of humor. So when the Dowager Queen asks, "Is there somebody in the room?" Funny things like that. That was Brian. A motion picture script is much different than radio, television, or even theater, because movies have to be visual. You see, a play isn't truly visual, because in a play it's impossible to observe subtlety without some measure of affectation. But on the big screen, one can observe many events all happening on different layers, all occurring at once. From the moment the picture begins, we observe hints that the lovers' paths are crossed. She's coming home from her father's funeral, and he's coming home from his journey abroad. Later on, they see each other, and each is intrigued with the other, but still it's from afar.
Is she?
At the end of the ball, their energy is electrifying. It's intense because of the fact that they have never even spoken with each other once. The arc of Edward and Cinderella's relationship is executed visually and not through dialogue. This is the secret of the modern screenplay. The story must be told first in imagery, then through word and music.
I think the Brits is a land of great authors, great imagination, and we've been fortunate to be assigned in the early stages, particularly great properties that producers wanted to do that had British origins, and so we tried to keep them mid-Atlantic. We didn't try to make them too British. We tried to make them kind of appeal to everyone, but still with that overtone of Britain. And it's great. I mean, there's a great heritage there, and we certainly are using their language, or shall we say misusing it. We had it written in our outline, and David Frost, who speaks beautiful English, said, "I rather like that song, He Danced With Me." And we both said, "Oh, He Danced With Me." Yes, it is a beautiful song, isn't it? It was a dummy title. We said, well, we're going to write a song about when he danced with me. Well, we had written it when he danced with me as Americans. And so it came out, rainbows raced around the room when he danced with me. It had a very British sound to it.
We often use humor and irony in our songs. There's nothing comforting about death. Yet in What a Comforting Thing to Know, the prince and his attendants sing about death with glee. Protocol would demand that one not dance on tables. It is protocologically correct. That's exactly what Mark Bro, the choreographer, had them do.
We talk a lot. We exchange ideas. We zero into the subject.
And we try to get the best ideas out of it.
Yeah, and then the essence, and we discuss what kind of a song it is, a mysterious song, a funny song, a novelty, a rhythm, whatever it might be, and the period it's in. There's 1,001 little buttons you press, and as you press these buttons, out comes a statement that, yes, that's the way we should go. And then we start
The more you work on it, the more you're inspired by it.
Yeah, and I climb the walls, run around the room, and Bob throws things at me, and we get ideas that way. That's how we do it. I mean, we've been doing it for how many, 50 years?
Yeah.
50 years.